The idea that no person is above the law is a bedrock principle of American justice.
No man is above the law, no matter what the crime.
And I agree with you. No man is above the law, and no person is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No one's above the law.
No one is above the law.
No man is above the law.
Nobody is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No man is above the law.
He has to be held accountable. He's not above the law.
No one's above the law. Either that nor any other title puts you above the rule of law.
No one is truly above the law.
That is what it means to have a rule of law. That is what it means to not have a king.
They're not above the law.
Nobody is above the law.
Everyone will be treated, as Merrick Garland has said, as equally.
Well, that no one is above the law, which is foundational.
No one is above the law, even a former president.
We have one set of laws in this country, and they apply to everyone.
No one is above the law.
The law is the law, and no one should be above it.
And yes, nobody is above the law.
No one is above the law.
I just wanted to ingrain that into your mind. No one is above the law. That includes Letitia James, right? Because, of course, they were talking about Uncle Trump as it pertains to those clips. No one is above the law, right? But that also includes Letitia James, Joe Biden, Adam Shifty Schiff, and in today's video, that includes a judge. Yep, we have a judge, Hannah Dugan. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. We're going to have to send her that same message. No one is above the law. Let's dive in.
The FBI has arrested a Wisconsin judge over allegedly helping an undocumented immigrant evade arrest. Milwaukee County Circuit Judge Hannah Dugan was arrested this morning at a courthouse before being released. She's been charged with concealing a person from arrest and obstruction. FBI Director Kash Patel announcing the arrest on X. The complaint states that last week, ICE planned to arrest Eduardo Flores Ruiz during a court appearance on domestic abuse charges, but that Judge Dugan intentionally misdirected agents away. Flores Ruiz allegedly tried to flee, but was eventually captured. Protesters gathered outside the courthouse decrying the arrest.
So you heard some of that there. And here's a clip of Pam Bondi actually going in a little more detail with how everything actually played out with this judge in the entire situation that led to her being arrested. I got a clip for y'all on that, so make sure you stick around. But check it out.
So rare for victims to want to cooperate. They wanted to cooperate. They were sitting in the courtroom with the state prosecutor. The judge learns that ICE was outside to get the guy because he had been deported in 2013, came back in our country, commits these crimes, charged with committing these crimes, victims in court. Judge finds out. She goes out in the hallway, screams at the immigration officers. She's furious, visibly shaken, upset, sends them off to talk to the chief judge. She comes back in the courtroom, you're not going to believe this, takes the defendant and the defense attorney back in her chambers, takes them out a private exit and tells them to leave, while a state prosecutor and victims of domestic violence are sitting in the courtroom.
Wow. You know, Madam Attorney General, great to have you here, and thanks for...
Wild stuff. Wild stuff. So, distracted the immigration agents, and while they were distracted, ushered these guys out of some back private door. Hey, get on out of here. Get on out of here before they catch you. What a load of crap, man. What a load of crap, you know? Jeez Louise. And of course, these people always scurry like a bunch of rats.
Judge, anything to say about this?
Jeez Louise. Jeez Louise. Oh man, I listen, I hope she gets the harshest penalty possible. I hope Pam Bondi makes an example out of her, because this has to stop. And it won't stop until you start legitimately arresting people and charging them and holding them accountable. No, not just a little slap on the wrist. You give her the harshest penalty you possibly can. Simple. But of course, Democrats are crying and complaining like they always do.
Level judge in Wisconsin. The FBI just arrested a Wisconsin judge accusing her of shielding an immigrant from federal officials. When you're doing stuff like that, it makes people say, you know, not enough people, mind you, but more people all the time say, that's not what I had in mind. when Trump was talking about immigration. And these, by the way, are the same people who, when they talk about tariffs, are saying, I voted for Trump because he said he was going to lower prices. Why? Level judge in Wisconsin.
Goodness gracious, man. It never fails. I voted for Trump because he said he was going to lower prices. Y'all never cared about prices when Joe Biden was in office, but now all of a sudden you care about it. Okay. And prices will definitely be coming down. They already have come down. The price of eggs, remember that was a huge story. Oh my goodness, the price of eggs is going up. But they failed to mention that Joe Biden's administration killed a bunch of chickens, right? In the name of stopping whatever bird flu or whatever was going around. They failed to mention that though. But the price of eggs going up was Trump's fault, and it was a complete crisis. But when they dropped, nobody said anything. It was just, shh, no, we're not going to talk about that. But CNN's Eli Honig even admitted that this is a legitimate crime. This is legit a crime if it is, as they say, as Pam Bondi described, she could be in trouble.
Caitlin Pollins, I want to start with you on our latest reporting around this because this, of course, a very sensitive area for state and local officials. Their interactions with the federal government, of course, always highly scrutinized as a general matter. Clearly, this judge is in a difficult position now. What do we know about what her plans are to try to fight back against this and what the administration's next moves are?
Well, they have a case, and that case is going to go on in court. She hasn't entered a pleading yet. She was released after appearance. But one of the things that I think should really be highlighted here is not, the case against the judge, it's unusual, but it's not unprecedented. There has been a case like this before in 2019 during the first Trump administration, charging a judge in Massachusetts who was accused of something very similar, trying to usher someone out of that courtroom as ICE officials were waiting for that defendant. In that case, that ended up being resolved. Those charges were dropped in the Biden administration against that judge in Massachusetts, but she ended up cutting a deal. So it was a legitimate case there as well. We don't know how this will go for Judge Dugan, but the thing I really want to highlight here is how this was done today. The Attorney General wants to make an example of this, and boy, are they, Casey. It's not just the Attorney General, Tom Homan, coming out and saying, doesn't matter who you are, we'll go after you, we'll charge you criminally with obstruction. They apprehended this judge on courthouse grounds at 8:30 this morning and then held her in a holding facility at the federal courthouse until her initial appearance, which happened mid-morning in Milwaukee on these federal charges. It's an obstruction charge, yes, but often people who are upstanding members of the community who aren't a risk of flight, who aren't a danger to the community, they're not put in a cell. They were contacted and said, come in later whenever you want to face your charges, when you negotiate this. And so that situation, the apprehending of the judge and then using the federal government's spotlight to point at this case, it just shows you how much of a hard line the administration wants to take here.
Everything Caitlin said and Andy McCabe said before her about the way this is being handled, the way the arrest is being handled, the way that DOJ is publicizing this is spot on and correct. However, looking at the complaint, let's strip the politics out of it. This is a crime. If they can prove what happened here, it is a crime. This judge, let's strip the Trump of it all out. Let's strip the immigration of it all out. Let's say law enforcement shows up at a building with an arrest warrant. They're looking for person A. Person B then says, hey, there's a secret escape door out back. I'm going to show you the way, and then ushers that person out the back door. That is textbook obstruction. That said, I think there's a fair debate to be had that I guess you two will be having in a moment about whether prosecutors should have brought this case. And let me tell you, I've been both state and federal side. If I was at DOJ and someone brought me this case on these facts, I would say, I get it. I get that robotically this is a crime, but I don't know that this is the right move here. Can't we just call up the state courthouse, see if there's some way we can work this out with the judiciary? How are we going to make arrests? I did this. Where are we going to make arrests? What are the protocols we're going to agree on? Jumping right, not everything that's a crime must be indicted or charged by complaint. And so I think this is a crime on paper, but there's a very fair debate about whether it should have been charged.
Right. Well,
No, we aren't interested in making any types of deals. Because the thing about it is Democrats want to say, well, shouldn't we just, just contact her, just tell her to come in whenever, just let her do whatever and just come in, and maybe we could just work out a deal and just, make sure that this doesn't happen. No. Because that same grace wasn't given to Uncle Trump. That same grace isn't given to conservatives. That same grace is only given, or people want to give it, to one side of the political aisle. Now, if it went both ways, okay, maybe you got an argument here, but that's not the case. They went after Uncle Trump. I mean, this man was in and out of courts for 3 years. In and out of courts for 3 years. They were trying to throw this man under the jail. So no, we're not interested in any deals. No, we're going to make an example out of this judge. At least that's what I hope Pam Bondi does, and that's what it seems like they're gearing up to do. We're going to make an example out of this judge. You do this, if you break the law, you will be held accountable to the fullest extent. To the fullest extent. After all, she legitimately committed a crime. You just heard it from CNN. And if you want to hear it again from CNN,
see more from him. And I should also say, Casey, I absolutely agree with Ellie. This indictment is strong on its face. They have numerous witnesses. They have a lot of facts that will support this prosecution. But to quote,
there you go. Another clip from CNN admitting, yeah, this case is strong. It is what it is. She legitimately committed a crime. This isn't Trump, drumming up some type of charges, bending and twisting the law to try to get somebody arrested like they did for Uncle Trump, right? This isn't the Trump administration changing laws, right? Because remember, in New York, they got rid of the statute of limitations for a year, just randomly, just coincidentally, and that's part of the reason how I forgot the lady's name. I know you're probably going to type it in the comment section. Why can't I think of her name? But that's how the sexual assault or whatever it was, that's how that all came about, right? So this isn't the Trump administration changing any type of laws. This judge legitimately committed a crime. And if you don't believe CNN, well, here's a clip from MSDNC.
Yeah, well, look, the Justice Department thinks they have a really good position here. Pam Bondi was on television today boasting about this arrest and using language that prosecutors don't tend to use, especially in the pre-indictment phase, not saying allegedly, saying that it happened. And look, I think a lot depends on if the facts are true, as alleged by the FBI agent in the court papers today. It doesn't look great for the judge, no matter how you slice it. But then the other question is, was this kind of escalatory action, was this the best course of action, to actually go and arrest her and take her to court and charge her federally?
Yes, the best course of action. Because she's the second judge that has been caught within, 3 weeks doing this. So there's probably more. Just haven't caught them yet. Right? Because remember the other judge, and I made a video on this maybe last week, but he was allowing an illegal to live in his home and hold weapons. Like, come on now. This is absolutely ridiculous. If that were a Republican judge, they would be thrown under the jail. So yes, you are going to be held accountable too. We're done with the I can't even get it out. Politicization of the justice system. It's got to be fair both ways. So if a conservative would have been thrown under the jail, your side's going to get thrown under the jail too. Simple. I think that's fair, right? That's fair. And like I said, this isn't the Trump administration drumming up some charges. This is legitimately a judge who committed an alleged crime. If it is as described, that is most definitely a crime. And you heard it from two networks that obviously don't like Uncle Trump. So, I think it's cut and dry. I think it is cut and dry. And from the way that this is all rolled out, I definitely think that, Pam Bondi is not going to be playing any games. No games. There's already been rumors swirling around, and I may make a video on this tomorrow, that charges are coming. Charges are coming. I know, and I've seen the videos of people, a little upset with the Trump administration because, we haven't seen the arrest that we thought we were going to see. But the rumor is they're coming. They're just behind the scenes making sure that all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. So when the charges are dropped, there's no squirming out. There's no wriggling out of it. There's no, oh, well, but this, or what if that. Nope, nope, nope. Every I is dotted and every T is crossed. You are cooked. Yeah. So I guess we'll see, guys. I guess we'll see. But what do you think? Should this judge be held accountable to the fullest extent, or should she just get like a little slap on the wrist just to send somewhat of a message like, hey, we're paying attention to all of you judges type of deal? Let me know. What do you guys think? Peace and love. I'm out.